You ever find yourself in an argument where no matter what you say, the other person just won't budge? You bring out all the facts, all the logic, and still, they refuse to listen. Frustrating, right? But here's the thing. Most arguments aren't actually about facts. They're about something much deeper. Emotions, identity, and relationships. And that's where most people get it wrong. They focus on winning instead of understanding. But what if I told you there's a way to argue that doesn't just help you win, but actually makes people listen to you? A way to turn even the most stubborn disagreement into a productive conversation? Well, Harvard's negotiation expert Dan Shapiro has spent years studying this. And what he's discovered might just change the way you approach every conflict in your life. So, let's talk about the real secret to winning arguments, without ruining relationships. Now, here's the problem with arguing. Most people think an argument is a battle. One person wins, the other loses. But the truth is, when you make someone feel like they're losing, they'll never agree with you, even if your logic is flawless. Because arguments aren't just about logic, they're about how people feel. Ever had a debate where no matter how many facts you throw at the other person, they just get more stubborn? That's because you're not fighting logic. You're fighting ego, identity, and emotions. And if you don't know how to navigate those, no amount of logic will save you. Let me give you an example. Imagine this. You're in a meeting. You suggest a brilliant idea. You've got data, research, and it all makes perfect sense. But then, your colleague, Mike, immediately shuts it down. No reason. Just a flat out, no, I don't think that'll work. So you push back. But Mike, the numbers clearly show this would be a huge improvement. And he just shakes his head. I don't like it. And now, you're stuck. You could keep throwing more facts at him, but at this point, it's not about the idea anymore. So, what's really happening here? Mike isn't rejecting your idea because it's bad. He's rejecting it because he feels something. Maybe he sees your idea as a threat to his own. Maybe he's worried about losing control. Maybe he just doesn't like change. And this is exactly what Dan Shapiro teaches. Arguments aren't just about what's being said. They're about what's being felt. So instead of pushing harder, a smarter move would be to shift gears. Try something like, Mike, I see you have concerns. What's your biggest worry about this idea? Now, you're not debating anymore. You're inviting him to share what's really on his mind. And once people feel heard, they're way more likely to actually listen to you. Dan Shapiro breaks it down into 5 emotional triggers that fuel arguments. Appreciation, people want to feel valued. Autonomy, no one likes feeling forced into a decision. Affiliation, we crave a sense of belonging. Status, we want respect. Role, we want to feel like what we do matters. And the moment one of these is threatened, that's when people dig in their heels. Let's look at another scenario. You and your sibling are arguing over who should take care of your aging parents. You say it should be shared equally. They say you should do more. And now it's getting heated. You could just say, but it's not fair. You need to help too, but you'd be missing the deeper issue. Maybe your sibling feels like you don't appreciate what they're already doing. Maybe they're overwhelmed, but don't know how to say it. So instead of fighting, what if you said this? I know this is a tough situation for both of us. I really appreciate everything you're already doing. How can we figure out something that works for both of us? See the difference? Instead of debating, you're validating their emotions. And that's what shifts an argument into a real conversation. So, what if you're in a deadlock? Dan Shapiro suggests 3 game-changing techniques to break free from a stubborn argument. First, stop making it me versus you and turn it into us versus the problem. Instead of, why won't you listen to me? Say, how can we make this work for both of us? Second, find the hidden interests. Most arguments aren't actually about what they seem. A couple arguing over chores? They're not fighting about dishes. They're fighting about feeling unappreciated. So instead of just arguing about what's being said, figure out what's really going on underneath. Third, Use the power of yes and. Instead of shutting people down, build on what they're saying. Instead of no, that won't work, say yes, and here's how we can improve it. These small shifts change everything. And let's talk about handling angry customers. Because if you work in customer service, you know the struggle. A customer comes up yelling at you about a delay. Your first instinct? Defend yourself. But instead of saying, "It's not my fault," try this instead. "I totally understand why you're frustrated. If I were in your shoes, I'd feel the same way. Let's see what we can do to fix this for you." What does this do? It validates their emotions. It makes them feel like you're on their side. It shifts the focus to a solution. Because at the end of the day, people don't just want to be right. They want to be heard. So here's the big takeaway. The best way to win an argument is to stop treating it like a fight in the first place. Next time you're in a disagreement, ask yourself, am I trying to prove I'm right, or am I trying to solve the actual issue? What emotional triggers are at play here? How can I shift this from a fight into a conversation? Because real influence doesn't come from overpowering people. It comes from understanding them. And that's how you truly win an argument. If this made you think differently about arguing, make sure to subscribe for more insights like this. And let me know in the comments, what's the most frustrating argument you've ever had? How did you handle it? Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.